Hey, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, WTF Fabrications. That's WTF Fabrications for all your metal fabrication needs. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook. You can find them where, Rob? WTF CustomFabrications.com. That's my producer shouting out from the sideline there. They make any kind of RV gates, security doors, fencing, you name it. For all your metal needs, give them a look-see. And that's, again, WTFFabrication.com. Our second sponsor I'd like to give a big shout out to is College Bar and Grill. They're in Tempe off of Veterans and College, right across the street from the football stadium. Again, that's College Bar and Grill. Just an amazing experience, a really at-home feeling when you go to that bar. Fantastic owner, going to be on the podcast here soon. Shout out to Joe Healy. But again, that's College Bar and Grill in Tempe. Give them a look-see on IG, please. If you were one of the amazing people who bought our Whiskey Tango Talk shirts, I'd just like to take a brief moment to thank you and tell you, guess what? Buy a fucking another one. We'd appreciate it. We got burnt orange and olive green due to our Instagram posts coming out here soon. We got 4, maybe 5 remaining shirts of the black on black and white on black left in various sizes. Who knows? DM me on Instagram at Whiskey Tango Talks. Let me know what it is you're looking for, and I'll try to get you that size. We appreciate all you do for us. We're going to try to eventually get hats and stickers for you if interested. Just let us know, DM what you think we should do. Who knows? Maybe I'll like your idea and fucking do something with it. All right? Again, thank you for all your support. Whiskey Tango merch coming to you fucking soon. Hey, if you don't know, you know now, motherfuckers. Patreon.com, Whiskey Tango Talks. Please go take a look at what we have on Patreon. Check it out. Donate. Donations are going to go to charity events where we do live podcasts, hopefully on YouTube, giving back to the community, giving back to the people that listen to us. Hopefully that money that we do receive, if it doesn't go to donations, will go to merchandise for the actual podcast, Whiskey Tango Talks. Again, that's patreon.com. Give us a look. Donate what you can, if you can, with how much you can. We'd appreciate it. We love you for all your support. Again, that's patreon.com. It is adult content labeled due to my foul fucking language. If you're 18, don't be scared. Give it a look-see.
Well, the other day my wife and we got into an argument about her sense of direction. She got so mad, she packed her stuff and right. I'm your host, Derek Pizzatore. This is Whiskey Tango Talks.
Welcome to Whiskey Tango Talks. I'm your host, Derek Pizzatore. Today is dedicated to veterans. So, a friend of mine actually died on the 26th of 2008, when I was serving. So, we're a day away from anniversary. This podcast is dedicated to veterans. But I'm here with Renee. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay, and Matt Muller.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I brought you guys on just because I'm a fan of the 3 for 1. I know men's physique.
Yep.
And you figure or?
Yep, figure.
Figure, okay. So, big of Run Everything Labs. You guys are both sponsored by them. How'd that happen?
This one right here, all her.
Yeah, it started because I first added their having athletes back in 2017.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
so I was like one of 20 people that Rob specifically sought out to add to the team because they were just threw something together and we're going to give it a go. So I've been since July of 2017, and then obviously they've slowly built it up. They had a shit ton more people, and then Matt got added in there.
October, I think,
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Because I was going to leave the team because
Was
I
that
wanted to
with-
be on a team with
Yeah.
And so they offered to add him so that way I wouldn't leave.
Oh, really? Oh, jeez. I saw your I quit my job post.
Yeah.
Was that kind of related to?
No, that was something completely separate.
Oh,
But
are you like a regular 9 to 5 or?
not anymore. No.
Oh, what do you do? Just
I actually started a foundation with my other business partner for veterans.
oh, shit.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
thank you.
it still works. We got a lot going on still, but yeah, that day when I quit my job was a great feeling. Just because, you know, I'm not working for somebody. I'm working for myself, but I'm also putting others with what we're doing and all the.
Yeah, I have a
Everything
lot of connections to different areas, so
Mhm.
just maybe after we'll talk a little bit about it.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I'm being dead serious. Like
Yeah.
so many different outreaches for Kevin Tillman, I know him, Pat Tillman's brother, and then I have Roman Rizal, who's actually coming on the show. He scholarship at ASU. He's a special forces retired, and he got into wrestling and got scholarship at ASU.
Yeah, we were listening to the one your podcast with
Oh, you guys
Sheriff
actually
dude.
listen.
Yeah,
Sure.
All right.
yeah, we listened. No, and we heard
Yeah.
about that. We were like, shit, that's pretty sweet. Like,
Yeah.
your 30s get a scholarship.
Yeah, he
Like,
actually is
it's
the
pretty
one that
neat.
got me Ryan Bader to come on. Still working out that. The guy's got a heavyweight championship coming up, so it's like, fuck everybody.
Maybe after the fact.
So, funny story, you were at, what was it, Western Nationals in Mesa Arthur, like December, November
I was gonna
of
say, which would
2017?
that-
The Felicia, that was November.
Felicia? Yeah, November.
Yeah.
November. I was actually at the show. No clue you were there.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
that
So,
was my last show I did? Yeah.
Yep, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
what do you go on stage weight wise? Like,
That show, I think, I mean, the last time I weighed, because I know I dropped a few months even still, but that show I probably was about like 120
oh,
stage,
jeez.
which I didn't think was possible.
She
My
dropped
coach,
a lot of weight.
yeah, because right now I'm probably sitting at about 145.
Yeah.
And that off season after that show, I was definitely sitting more in the 150s. So my coach told me, yeah, we'll get you to 120. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, somehow it happened.
Right. What are you usually on stage at, physique?
Well, I put on a lot of size since the last time I competed. By the time I think I was right at 165, which
What do you
now
weigh? What do
recently,
you weigh now?
now I'm just about under 200.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've
there's
put
no
on
way,
quite a lot of size since I competed last. But
You got up or?
I don't know. I got a lot of work to do on my leg.
Yeah,
A
well,
lot. And my twin brother does classic.
okay.
So it's pretty easy to compare myself to, and it's
Know
like
where
see
you're
where
at.
see where he's at, and you know what he's accomplished. So it's like I have a good judge on where I feel like I would need to get to be to progress.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. What do you think about the board short situation? All that bomb bullshit online right now.
I don't know, man. I a lot of butting heads with the
I'm
different.
not, but I'm not a fan of the board short. Never have been. I always thought it was like kind of like easy way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was a way to get the people interested in bodybuilding and making their physiques better, and giving them a platform to where, you know, they can step on stage like these bodybuilders that, you know, they grew up reading about in magazines and pictures and stuff,
Right.
and a little taste of it, but not to that extreme level. So I think
I
that's
think
where
if
it
you're
started,
going in, you go in.
and now it's just like, you know, all they get shit for not getting their legs judged because they're wearing these board shorts, and it's like that's
the
it is what
division.
it is, you know.
Yeah, it's the vision, but still, you're paying $1,400 fucking dollars for your suit. You're $50 at a fucking.
That's what, no,
Yeah.
that's what I
At
always
a
tell
buckle.
them.
For,
Yeah.
No, that's what I
Prince
give them shit about. 'Cause I'm like, hey, you go to the store and spend 30 something, whereas
Yeah, those
I
suits
have
are
to
ridiculous.
freaking, you know, go drop. I've always got in mind either like somehow sponsored or heavily discounted, but some suits run like $2,000 or something for girls if you're going for like a decent quality one.
That's outrageous. I couldn't even imagine. Like, yeah, $2,000. That's like an United trip.
For real.
Jeez. So what's new, guys? Like shows coming up. I know you had like what's your wrist?
I sprained it training leg. Because that's how smart
so-
I am.
I'm so good.
No, so we were training legs in our apartment, and so we were using the Smith machine for different things.
Okay.
And so I was doing like vertical press, so I keep like lowering the bar because he was squatting with it. And so me just being super aware of my surroundings, there was a plate on either side, but I went to move the bar, it's just the bar weight. So
Ah.
I went to move it, and as soon as I unracked it, I was like, oh shit! And so like, again, being smart, instead of just letting it drop, I tried to catch it. So right away I could tell, I was like, oh fuck, that doesn't feel good.
So show up anytime soon, or?
Nothing's scheduled right now.
I know Dennis James is going on. But
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry if I stole you guys one. I didn't know if the.
I was gonna say, it's been a minute since we really stayed on top of things, like far as like with the shows and stuff. Like we went to the game last year because that's the one Mitch did, right? Like,
Yeah, my brother actually won the classic division for that show last year.
Yeah,
so
my buddy
it's
won
like
the
we had a reason to be there. Some people we were supporting. We also had another friend who won the bikini overall.
Norman, yeah.
So,
Oh.
so yeah.
Yeah, my buddy won the Masters and then the Open, I think. Yeah, he's like retired police officer for years, and I'm like, how the fuck did you get away with that? Because you know you're all on something. But
It's kind of like what they run cold.
so what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
a cop and you want to
Yeah, 350 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make. Yeah, that poor guy. He's like walking around stilts. Man, Jesus. So why no shows planned? Like, is it time off or?
I mean, for me, well, I guess you kind of decided to take time off from competing first.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you start to read your priorities and like, if it's costing your quality of life too much, and is it really worth it? So like Matt actually kind of made the decision to step back before I did. So I did obviously one more show after a show we did together, and then I was supposed to do a show last summer, but then I just started having like some health stuff, and so it was like. First time in my life, I actually tried to learn from a mistake I had made, which was the prior prep of like pushing it when I shouldn't have. So I called off that show, and then that's like the feeling of like the relief of being able to actually focus ourselves and like be able to focus on my physique for me for the first time ever since getting into the sport. It was like, oh shit, this actually is more, and like I enjoy going to the gym.
Yeah,
now.
and it's an opportunity to kind of fall back in love with, because that's where it all started.
Yeah,
you know,
because
you
I got
see-
to the point we'd go to the gym and I'd be like moping around because like my
No
mentality
motivation.
was just so
I
screwed
hated
up.
it. I
Yeah.
so much with her and I starting to train together. It was the hardest thing to get used to.
I know for a lot of people, it's the food.
Mhm.
Like I just had a buddy John who I think he did like a full 5 months out before he started. Yeah.
Long prep.
Yeah, exactly, and he won. I mean, I won't
So it was
take
worth it.
Yeah, he won, and I think he won 3 different things: the
Wow.
Open and 212, and but just I was like, I couldn't for 5 months, no pizza. Fuck that. I don't know how you guys do it. So what wrong with your prep, if I can ask?
Well, so for Felicia, the one you were talking about.
Yeah. You looked phenomenal in that backstage where you're kind of posing, like
Yeah.
jacked your back.
Well, and that's
Her back looks better than mine
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah. I'm not mad at you. I'm
Yeah.
jealous too, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But no, with that one, like I had surgery in February, and I started prep the beginning of May. So like I had 6 weeks of absolutely no lifting.
Surgery,
Yeah.
cosmetic.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Stuff I opted in for.
Yeah.
But so like 6 weeks of absolutely nothing, no cardio, no lifting, anything, and so surgery was like February 3rd or something. So 6 weeks no lifting. Then I barely get back to the gym, and then I start prep like a month later.
Oh yeah.
Like that alone was just stupid. And
Yeah.
then I think just all of like the surgery and stuff. And then like I kept getting sick that summer, so prep kept getting pushed off too. Like I was originally going to do a show in September, and then it gets pushed all the way until actually no, I think it was going to be August. The show was going to do all the way until November. So I ended up prepping like pretty much that whole year. So like my body freaking having like 800 calories for like 9 months.
Plus pains and shit.
Yeah,
like that,
and then
yeah.
like I kept having issues. Then I'd go on antibiotics. So it was just like layer of just like dumb stuff, and then on top of that, like. We found out where we were living, there was like mold. And one of the lucky few that was like extra sensitive apparently. Like
Oh.
one of the 20%.
I thought you were going positive right there. Like you're like, oh, I'm the extra one that didn't get sick, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
No.
That was me. That was one. I wasn't phased by.
That was like dying, but yeah. So just that prep, I kept going because it was the whole thing of like, oh, I can't quit. Oh, I said I'm gonna do it. I have to do a show. But looking back, I see where like I droid my body, like I lost so much like muscle mass and stuff, just
Jeez.
because you can't go, almost 10 months of like starving your body. it's gonna start to eat it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So that, and then obviously just my immune system took such a because of the lack of nutrition and then the mold exposure, all that. And so that's why last year I was starting to prep, and then I was like, you know what, this feels very familiar. I'm like pushing it, and everything's telling me I shouldn't do this. So I called that off, and obviously haven't really even sat down to think about doing it since, just because.
Yeah, some women are different, like with cosmetic surgery. Like my wife, when after hers, like she brought her home, I'm thinking, okay, she's down and out. She's like, can we go eat? Like, let's go get a hamburger. I'm like, wait, what? Do you want to leave the house right now? She's all wrapped up still. I'm like, all right, I guess. And we ended up Chipotle or some shit like that. But
That was definitely not me.
No.
so for you, what's your plan? You going?
I mean, from when I started to take a break from training, it was just because I just wasn't enjoying lifting. Every single day thinking about going in the gym, it was just like a burden. And I hated that feeling because I knew what I used to be like, where I just couldn't eat. Like that was the best part of my day. I think about it all the time.
Right now, yeah.
Because you just get such a good feeling when you're training and seeing the picture making, and all that started to go away. So that's when I could step back and really make that decision of like, you know what, because of competing and all this extra pressure I'm putting on, it's affecting me in this way, and I'm not happy anymore.
Right.
So because of that, that's why I took a step back.
Just look good naked for now. That's all you need. Yeah.
It was ultimately creating that balance, enjoying life, enjoying cheat meals. Not even if it was just a meal, but it was eating all day. Those are some of those days I feel like are necessary, and I like being able to do that without beating myself up about it. So over time, I've been able to find that balance, and both too, with kind of the lifestyle we live now, we can kind of have the best worlds.
Yeah, not feeling like you have to adhere to like what people put out there, like on the whole thing of like 24/7, 365. And it's like,
you get burned out.
You have to stay consistent to a certain level, but that's what we started with both of us. It's like we were trying to stay on point so much that we're forcing ourselves to start to hate what we were in love with in the first place. Now, we set aside 5 to 6 days to train versus to train 7 days a week. And then we just agreed that, for sure 5 days will be diet on point, but then probably over the weekend or something, relax and have fun.
All bets are off.
And
it doesn't matter.
In all honesty, I feel like we had our best physiques probably at the end of last year, and it was as soon as we make these little changes, and it's because once we were in the gym, we were there, so we went harder versus going in for like 20 minutes and then like just feeling like shitting.
Dude, I'm telling you, whenever I get my pasta, I'm good. I'm like, without it, it's like fuck.
I need carbs.
Yeah.
He without them, but me.
I was so used
down.
to not having any carbs after training. So like 6 o'clock at night was the first time I introduced carbs for months on end.
Yeah.
And then once I started adding some carbs into my pre-workout, it was like on a different level.
Yeah.
It's like, I was lean. It was awesome. My workouts were better after that. So.
Yeah, but you're not growing your leg on carbs either.
Exactly. Yeah.
So blood types are too. Like I talk to people about it all the time. Like certain people can get away with not eating certain things and being okay. Like blood type diet, people are different. We good? Oh, okay. All right.
It's all ruined.
No, I'm glad you brought up weekends though. Kind of mad you never got in my Game of Thrones message I sent you. Yeah.
I post about it a lot, that if people message me on Instagram, my like...
I cannot stand the way they ended that show.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
We're just trying to pretend it happened.
That's where you're
We're
going?
in denial. We're in denial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm resorting
I'm
resorting back to the books so that I can closure. even though the last 2 books probably won't be for another 10 years probably or something. But
I don't read enough. Like the show was it for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it was like season 8.
Well, yeah, that's what because he started listening to the audio book, and I'd be like, no, I just can't do that. I can't focus that well. I have
Really?
terrible attention
I
span.
gotta try that.
Yeah.
I
But
can't read.
after that shitty ending,
Well, I can read.
I'm gonna
That
need
came
to
out
listen to
wrong.
the books too.
That came out wrong. I'm like, I can't read.
read.
No, I just don't enjoy reading.
I just can't. I can't stay focused long enough to read.
That's
I'll be reading something, and my mind's thinking about like 3 other things. I'm like, oh shit, what did I just read?
Yeah. So besides my wife and I, you guys are pretty cute. I'd say
Thank you.
number two behind my wife.
Number 1 in that part of the valley.
What's the plans for you guys? You guys We've been together now?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah, it'll be 3
August
years
3rd.
in August.
Yeah, it's 8 for my wife and I. Married for 7. God, don't do it. No, I'm joking. No. Yeah, seriously, no. But just so with Run Everything Labs, though, how did you you started with them? Did they contacted you?
Yeah.
Were you just shitting your pants when they called, or what? I know I would be.
I was like one of those things, and it was funny timing because I recently had a talk about it because obviously the fitness industry for a girl is iffy. You know, there's you have to tread lightly.
But
with certain things.
I agree and disagree because I mean, you can get a chick that has fucking a nice ass. She can post 25 times the same picture of her ass, fucking 5 different angles, and 100,000 years later,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Like we put out in my opinion, a quality podcast, a quality product. Dude, I struggle getting any. Fuck you. We struggle getting anybody to follow us, but the followers that do follow are like, holy shit, you guys, okay, you know. So I get what you're saying.
Well, I guess what I say is it's iffy in the terms of if you have certain maybe standards for yourself. Standards. That's what I was meaning. Okay. Yeah. So like just before Ryan had reached out to me, we were talking about it, and you know, because it was like right about the time I was actually gaining momentum with like Instagram. And so I was like, oh, you know, like, it'd be cool if I could, like, find a supplement company to work with and blah, blah, blah. But there's very few that don't try to exploit, like, male body, like, far as promotions. And it's because women are willing to do that. And for myself, it's like...
Shreds.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, as me as, like, an individual, and especially being in a relationship, like, it was like, I knew the things that would be off the table. And so, like, that immediately, like, 90% of the companies that were out there. And so it was like I think the same week that we had like that discussion as far as like what the hell supplement company could I work with. Yeah. That, you know, we were actually in that at home store looking at home and I get this Instagram message, you know, and it was a chick at the time that worked with them, you know, she was like, oh, hey, you know, such and such, we're going to be starting for the first time ever a program, like you're one of like the 20 that we're reaching out to. That's obviously where it started. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. See, I was like a 5-year-old kid when I met Rob. I was Dana's first, and he was walking down the stairs, and I saw him from a distance, and like, I don't know how it happened, but we made some kind of eye contact, and it was like in a crowd, and I was like, hey, motherfucker, I need to meet you, and he was like, outside, let's go, and like, that was how I met him the first time, and I was like, oh, so, like, I'm a huge fan. I don't know how you guys don't geek out. Like, I mean, being in the industry, you know, you're probably not as starstruck, but I'm always like, dude, I've never met Dana. Met Rob like 4 or 5 now. Mm-hmm. Never met Dana. I've always seen her from distance, and like I'm not waiting in an hour line.
I was gonna say, yeah, the lines get ridiculous.
No, they're
at first it was kind of surreal.
Well, yeah, because Dana was like for me, because my older brother's the reason I got into bodybuilding. Okay. He does bodybuilding, and so when I was, he was my go-to, and to a certain level, he still is my go-to if I have any questions. Oh, what about this, or should I take this up, that type stuff. So when I started to get into it, you know, in training and all, he would like, you know, I'd be like, I don't know what my goal physique is. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what level I want to get to. So he pictures of different people like this person. And so like, he was actually found out about Fight and Fail and like Dana and all that. Cause that was like when they were first started. And so he was like emailing with Rob. He got like, you know, some shirts that they had just like made or something. Yeah. And so that was like when I saw her physique. And at the time I was like, oh, that might be a little bit bigger. Then there was a phase where I was like, yeah, let's get to that level. But
yeah, so people don't realize she's only like 130 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well she's a little bit shorter than me.
She's a little
shorter. Yeah, and you don't compare her to somebody else, and it's a picture by herself. You're like, holy shit, she's like 180.
Yeah. No, you see her first, you're like, oh, never mind. But no, so definitely like the first Olympia were, you know, when I was. That would have been 2017 Olympia. Working the booth with them, and then like we got to hang out with them at the house, like swimming in the hot tub with Rob and Dana. And it was like one of those things, like
Olympia week.
Yeah, like you know, you take that moment to pause, and like for me, it was like, oh shit, like,
where are you?
Yeah,
how do we get here?
This is the person that kind of set path of like
jealous.
this. Yeah, so that was like
it was a cool experience.
Like, wow, I went from like admiring her physique and all this like on it to now like, oh shit, we're watching the Olympia competition and we're like around about it.
Yeah, you think about how it is for them though too. Like here they are sitting 2 people that they now sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they have nothing too. So for them, it's like, holy shit, like, okay, it's fine. It's just crazy.
Exactly.
How'd you get into men's physique? Bodybuilding.
I was actually following my brother's footsteps. I mean, I grew up as an athlete from the age of 7 playing basketball. Basketball was like my life all the way through high school.
Too short, bro.
Hey,
Everyone's
I could dunk it one time.
Everyone's like Steve Nash. No, he's not. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
People don't realize he's standing next 6'9" constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I was following my brother's footsteps. We did everything the same growing up. We would basketball to, we did like a BMX phase, just everything we did together. I mean, that's kind of what twins do. So he's getting more interested in bodybuilding itself, and the little attention to bodybuilding, it was more so just like the extreme levels, seeing the guys on the magazine covers at Blockbuster,
Any inspiration?
I think Ronnie Coleman was one of the big ones, and Kai, of course.
See, like when I met Kai, like I'm like, okay, I get it. And I was like, but you're like 5'8".
Yeah.
Like, I see, like, it's the short guys, but I was like, when you look at somebody like Callum.
Yeah.
6'3", 240, well, when he was,
still getting back to that.
Yeah, but like, you look at those, like, holy shit, like when I met Dennis Wolf, I thought for sure 3'6'4", he barely 5'10".
Again, he's there on the stage against guys that are like
5'8",
5'4" or something,
Yeah. No, seriously, so I was baffled. It, like, Jay Cutler come walk one time, and I looked down at the top of his head, and I was like, all right, wow. Yeah, so Ronnie Coleman and who else you said? Green?
Yeah, those were the first two. I think Kai Green was one of the first videos I saw of, just a bodybuilder training.
Yeah, in the industry, in my opinion, him and Flex probably have the best muscle to muscle connection there is.
By far.
Like, Kai can activate any part of his body,
and you can see it.
And for people that are listening, like, it's so, like you said, you can see it. Like, just the nation of
take
that.
Kai's back, for example.
Yes,
he's got the greatest back, I feel like, of all time.
Dude, Jefferson squats. You guys do them at all?
Oh.
Our first leg day together.
So
very first leg day.
What the hell? Like,
try to tell.
They're awkward as hell to do,
but once you understand what they do,
yeah.
I try to get everybody in the gym. Hey, come do these, and they're like, I'm like, just 10 pounds on each side till you get the hang. That's
all you need.
Yeah. I'm barely working up past 25s now.
Yep.
But yeah, muscle connection is huge, and I don't think people realize that don't lift what it takes to develop that. Like for me, I'm still trying to get my ass, that Instagram chick ass. I don't know how to.
You got a better one than me.
Like my box squat 525, and I feel good with it. I free squat 55, which is weird because that's my max bench. So why can I bench as much as I squat? Like, probably because I have chicken calves. But yeah, I saw your little post pointing out his calf. I'm jealous, But
that's basketball. That's basketball for you right there.
Yeah, military. All we do is run, so your calves elongate. They don't go wide. So never gonna happen for me. I hate you.
It happens.
Yeah. No. So got into it because of her. What was the other you were looking at? Was there anything, or was it just?
As far as being?
Yeah.
I mean,
dynamic.
Yeah, I was Dynamic Muscle, Kai Green's company from the very beginning.
Really?
We had to go out to Arnold. And we worked that booth.
We worked and got to hang out with him a little bit.
I don't know how much you can talk about it because I know your contract, right? But how did that differ?
It was, I think his dynamic was so new, and Kai, his influence is not just limited to the U.S. It's everywhere. Yeah. So from my perspective, their focus was everywhere, not just at home. So starting an athlete from at the beginning, to them it sounded great, and to the people that were on board as part of the team, like me, that was also an amazing thing. But it wasn't like they just putting their attention everywhere, not just one place. So it didn't feel like what I expected it to be as far as being an athlete for Kai Green's company.
Right.
So
They're
ultimately,
giving a little more of a push for one direction versus spreading out so much.
yeah. So it was just kind of one of those things that fizzled out over time. To this day, Oliver Kai, he's my all-time favorite bodybuilder, always has been. It's just like one of those opportunities, and once we started eating, it was always one of those things that I wanted to be like parting with her. It didn't matter if it was supplements or it could be in anything. But us to be viewed as a unit together,
No,
just sounds easy.
Instead of like, hey, I'm promoted this company and he's promoted this company.
And it's so much more powerful too.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because I knew of you, and I'd seen so many pictures on Instagram with you with her, and you fucking clicked, and I'm like, wait, I know him. Why didn't? And then to your page, I started following your page, and I'm like, oh shit, I do know it. So like, I didn't know you were with Kai Green's supplement line though, but like when I saw, I'd seen other posts with you with Run Everything, so it was like, oh shit, like, okay, why not have both of you guys on? Like, just makes much more sense. So how does this differ from your first podcast? How do you feel? I mean, other than the drive, I apologize. Did the other podcast, did he come to you guys or?
Well, would have. I told him, I was like, you know what, our apartment's a little overrun with like cats, people, so I'm like.
I'm not a cat person. I don't know how you do it, dude.
It's the right cat.
Yeah, it takes the right cat. Cause
See,
my brother that lived with us, like all my brothers were anti-cat people. They said they're from hell, so they're very So they're very anti-cat people. But after he lived with our two cats, now him and his girl 2 cats, because it's just you get the. And here's the funny thing is, you see that person, but it's because you found a cat that acts like a dog.
Right.
It's
I mean, my freaking cat Spartan, he follows me like a freaking dog. If I don't pay attention to him, he kind of starts
The one that
barking.
attacks you all the time?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how, seriously.
Never $6,000 cat now.
All right, extracurricular supplementation.
Creatine, right.
Okay.
Way isolate.
Hey, I used to work at a supplement store.
Really?
And,
What one? Okay,
and
I actually have a good friend that runs majority of Zach's One Stops.
Yeah, I worked at one of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, Desert Ridge.
Oh, okay.
But no, the number of girls that would come in there and like whether they were for a supplement or they were ordering one of the shakes and they would ask for half the protein because they didn't want to get too jacked. I did a laugh, like I really did.
No,
Like, and then like if you get a pre-workout, like, oh, this has creatine in it. I'm like, and like.
Oh, I put on 62 pounds in 5 years.
Pretty good.
Obviously, needles involved.
Yep.
Testosterone. Not a fan of DECA, but I've taken other things. What my favorite thing is when somebody comes up to you, your physique, first question is, what do you bench? And it's like, why is that the first thing you ask? Followed by, how much protein do you take? Like, what kind of protein do you take?
Is it a magical type from unicorns?
Yeah, and they think that it's at night. And then, now that I'm in, like, that position I am in, when people come talk to me, I'm just straight up. It's like, dude, TR, like, oh, really? What's that? Testosterone replacement there. And then they're like, oh, so is that all you do? Yeah, well, how do you do it? Well, you can go to a doctor, do it that way, or you can street pharmacist. Like, don't know what to tell you. So, Matt? What's your take on supplementation curricular?
I mean, I feel like you can look at it from a few different angles. One being the professional level, the amount of just competition that's on the pro level now is just absolutely ridiculous. And even though I tell that they're trying to rein things back a little bit,
I'm so glad you said that.
as far as like specifically like men's physiques overall, they're not looking for the biggest and greatest anymore.
No, but there's still
It's
steroids.
still a freak show.
yeah.
There's still the steroids that fucking tighten you up, Winstrol, Anavar.
There's something for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I had a friend that generally came over and he was telling me he had a good buddy of his that was on a pro show, actually sitting in here too when he'd come over. They're taking up 5 grams of shit a week at the bodybuilding pro level. is what I was. I don't even know how that's humanly possible. Well, I do because of insulin.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
But still, like, do you know what you're doing to your body at that point? Like
That's just ridiculous.
5 bottles.
Yeah,
Who was
ridiculous.
Didn't we hear from somebody? I forget which one of the because it was somebody in Olympia. I think it was a men's physique dude. But we heard somebody like basically his dosing that he was doing.
Like some of the men's physique
And
guys
it was like type of thing
on
where
the Olympia stage were taking twice as much, if not 3 times as much or more of the shit that the
average person.
pro bodybuilders were.
That's insane.
So
because they're nowhere near the size.
Exactly.
So it's just free testosterone floating around at that point.
Yep.
Your red blood cell count fucking roof,
Oh,
your
yeah.
kidneys, your liver.
Just
Blood
destroying
pressure,
your body.
just
Blood
everything
pressure.
leaking out. It's
Yeah.
like, don't you got the vascularity going on?
No, golly, that's ridiculous. We'll get back to you with women with that, but I have a friend who just won his 2nd South Africa Arnold Championship. Marshall saying, shout out to you, buddy. But his take on it for men is, sport that you're doing allows it, you do you. You know, that's kind of how he felt like when it comes to men. You know, he's 5'3", 200 pounds.
Whoa.
Shit.
Yeah, like he's a fucking
Wow.
monster. His podcast is up if you guys ever get a chance. But when I say he's a monster, like it's like that doorway barely fits him. He's so
I can
wide.
imagine.
Yeah, but and I know the level he competes at, and it's nowhere near what bodybuilding does. Like gear wise, I don't understand how you can ingest that and do it not know. You know,
I don't even know that level was possible.
that's what. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm scared to death of insulin. Dallas.
Yeah, that's the
That's-
first thing I think
Yeah.
of when you say it.
Yeah.
Yep.
A dirt nap, dude. You're taking a fucking dirt nap if you don't know what you're doing. And for him, I don't think it wasn't that he didn't know. I think that for those that don't know, that Carver choked on chicken after a Tixlin shot. So I think what it was he couldn't do it fast enough, and he tried to swallow, and that's just horrible.
Terrible.
What's your take with women and supplementation?
Well, I'll start off saying, like, I love when either somebody says to me or I read it online, people,
This is good already.
Yeah.
I like this. Read it online.
Yeah.
but like, it was this past Olympia, several people hating on like the different women who placed like top 5 figure. Like, oh, well, they're not as good as so-and-so from past years because they're just all on steroids. And I can't help but just die laughing because I'm like, no fucking shit. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't get to a pro level period, and then especially Olympia stage, if you aren't running stuff. Like, it's impossible. Like, I don't
Goes for
care.
men and women.
Yeah, men or women. Like, I don't
Oh,
care
yeah.
what your genetics are. I have great genetics for putting on muscle mass, but there's a cap. Like, there's a certain level that I can reach without stuff, a certain level that then I can reach after it. So I can't help but just head when I hear people like trying to bash all different top female athletes because they use stuff, and it's like, well, duh. I'm sorry, but anyone that's a girl and has that physique, they're tough.
So here's another thing that bothers me with women and taking extracurricular supplementation is CrossFit. and the reason why I'm
Just
you
laugh.
That's another tangent.
No, but I'm so glad I find it amusing because I do too. I have so many women friends that are like, there's no way this girl's on stuff. I'm like, are you fucking serious? If you...
She said she's not, so...
Yeah, she said she's not, right? But I'm like, you look like... Yeah, you do because it's CrossFit. No, you don't look at unless you're taking something
It's the protein and creatine.
It's the protein and creatine. Yeah, I'm like, how do you not understand how much shit this woman's on? And like the more and more you look at CrossFit, the one guy won this last year. I can't even remember his fucking name because I don't pay attention.
I have no idea.
You could say a name and I'd be like,
Well,
okay, that's his name, I guess.
Yeah, but he won, and granted, the credit when credit's due, even though I fucking hate CrossFit. I hate it so much. Like level that you compete at once you get there is amazing. Like, okay, dude, you fucking did Olympic lifts fast.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
Something,
right. Yeah, I get it. So you tested negative. Any supplementation, bullshit. They need a fucking boy They need somebody to promote, and you tested negative.
Business. I mean,
That's what it is. There's no fucking way that you fucking snatch 275 overhead 12 times.
Yeah.
No, that's
No
not
way.
how that works, you know. And so then I got in an argument with somebody, and they're like, "Dude, he tests negative." I go, "Okay, have you ever heard of EPO? Do they test for EPO? How about that?" Like, no. Okay, well, for those that don't know what EPO is, it helps oxygenate the blood. You get better blood, better strength, all that bullshit. Helps your white blood cells, red blood cells, all that. You get high altitude 24/7. So we'll get off of that, but anyways. So gun posts. I've seen you with guns. I've seen you with. What's that all about? Is that a sponsor or?
No.
I wish, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, anybody out there listening, we'd love to
seriously.
promote it.
Yeah.
Shooting range is right down the street.
I'm telling you.
We live like, what, 5 minutes from
Ben Avery.
up there?
So you guys are advocates, just gun advocates? Or?
Yes, I freaking have loved guns since I was a little kid.
Yeah, her even more so than me. She's got me into it a lot.
I honestly don't know what the initial exposure was. My uncle, he's now retired. He's Phoenix Police, you know. So when I was, I think 6 or 7, they had like a family, like the academy. So I got to go out there and shoot like fully automatic guns. We got to go through like their what's it called? Like I'm blanking on the name, but like the stuff where it's a simulation.
Okay. Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me shoot as a shotgun.
Oh.
Because apparently at 7 years old, you're too young to shoot a shotgun.
Right,
you,
but
you can shoot a semi-auto or something.
what's funny is you can, at 7 years old, go and I think buy a shotgun. There's no age limit on shotguns.
Yeah, the rifles and stuff. Yeah, it's,
yeah,
but
handguns 21 and yeah.
Let's move voting to 16. Anyway, but no. So I know, like, and then when I was younger, my thing was, which my mom hated, is I was dead set I was either going to go military or become a cop. Like, because to me, there was nothing cooler than like to carry a fucking gun, kid wear a uniform, like hell yeah. But she crushed my dreams at one point because I don't like what to do. I don't like being controlled.
Yeah.
And she was like, we were in a freaking argument. I love to like tell her that during an argument, like, yeah, well, once I'm 18, I'm joining the military. And so she told me one time, she's like, you would never make it. They tell you what to do all day long. She's like,
But that's the easy part. I'm telling you.
So that I slowly started to realize it was like, oh shit, yeah. I probably would get freaking like court-martialed day 1 or something.
No, it's so much. It's so easy. I love. It was like, hey, I have to be here at this time, and I have to wear what? Okay, easy. And then it's like, okay, be physical, fun, right? It was too easy. And like you said, you get to carry a gun.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than that.
No.
No, so I've forever had a love for just gun. Like obviously, like you know, my parents, they never owned a gun. We all like my mom, even to this day, she'll say she's afraid of them, but she for people having them. So, you know, she just personally is like afraid of them. But like my he would take us out shooting. You know, he'd bring all his different like weapons he had. Of course, he drilled us like the safety of it, of like you never point at something and you shoot it. You know, and just all those basics. So since I remember, it's like I was taught gun safety. So even though I love guns, I have a huge amount of respect for the fact that they could kill you.
You said the Sheriff Lamb podcast.
Yeah.
His daughter made like a makeshift AR-15. He didn't even want to point it at me as he was, and it was fake. And he was so gun savvy that I was like, don't want to flag you. Yeah, I was like, oh, well, it's fake, but all right.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So how many guns you have?
We only have
right now we only have 2.
Right?
Yeah.
The only real answer is not enough.
Not enough.
That is true.
We have a list that we want. It's just.
So was that your AR-15 in your Instagram post?
No, that's actually my brother-in-law. So, and my brother that just moved down here. He's got quite a few. We need to like for.
Well, before we leave, we'll get some pictures. I got a shotgun to show you guys. It's amazing. My grandpa got it. He left the Korean War. Went to Japan. Out of Korean War. It's a double barrel shotgun. Shoots both barrels at the same time. I found out the hard way.
Wow. Yeah. That packs quite the punch.
Yeah, found out the hard way, but it's gorgeous. Well, jokes. Did you guys come prepared? I warned you.
Honestly.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, can I just say my life?
What's so funny about your life? You're living the best life right now. Isn't that what all
there's
the...
probably plenty of laughs in there though. I myself, you look back at your younger
You
self.
kind of have to, yeah.
You don't just sit down and shut up.
How old are you,
Of course
man?
you did. I'm 30.
26.
No, you guys got, yeah, I'm 35. You got plenty of time. Your life. You're like, you're a baby still. What are you talking
I'm not a
about?
baby.
No, yeah, seriously. Wait, how did you guys meet? Yes.
She came up and talked to me
It was
at backstage
at
of a bodybuilding show. Yeah.
Oh, so you guys met at an actual show?
That
Yes,
both
we,
did that,
we,
yeah.
we knew of each other because of social media for like a while. But then, like, I don't even think we fully realized, but we were doing the same show in 2016 here in Arizona. So it was like we were back, and I'm freaking starved, hyped up on pre-workout and stuff, and I see him over. I'm like, it's Matt, right?
On pre-workout before a show? What? I thought you want pump. Like some pre-workouts take away a pump, no?
Well, it was like one to
Standard.
get pump, and then I so it's like usually
hyped
I'm
up.
not one to go up to somebody like shy, but also I'm not like the one that's gonna be freaking going around to everybody in the room.
Yeah,
So-
shit people.
I know. I like to sit back and watch. I love observing.
Observe.
People watching is the greatest thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like
We do it together.
the
Like,
wife and I play this game called Your Team. All right. So the best spot for it is probably the Renaissance Festival.
Oh man. Oh man.
That's
So
right, it's good as
basically,
going to Vegas.
oh my God, we Vegas too. So basically, you try to find the most fucked up person you can. I know this sounds horrible. I promise I'm not a bad person, but right. So you find the fucked up person possible, and what you do is you tally it up, and you say that's on your team. So for instance, Robbie would be your team, right? So. The Renaissance Festival is the greatest part because you get those characters that come and they're dressed for the occasion, and it's Lord, like you really wore that here because not in the show.
Yeah.
You come to see
Like
the
you
show.
own that.
Yeah,
Might be
That's
in the
great.
show though.
So you got any joke?
No, I'm terrible with
You
jokes.
guys are killing me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sarcastic. Like I can think on the spot. Like
Pure
I love,
sarcasm
I
all
love
the time.
bragging people, especially my sister-in-law. She's an easy target. But as far as like talent,
Yeah.
she
If
knows
you-
that.
if
I
you're
tell her
gullible-
that.
yeah, if you're gullible in any way, exploit that.
I will
and
find
shove
your
it in-
weakness
yep.
and I will use it against you.
Does she rag on you a lot?
Oh yeah, all the time. Especially with age. It's like I'm only a few years older. so
Yeah.
Just like.
Well, there was something he said the other day. It was after we trained. I think
You
he
still
said
have your hair, Matt. Don't worry.
Well,
You don't. Once you get here, you don't want it. I shined this shit for you guys today. I was like, no, it's horrible, dude. Like, I get a stubble, and the wife's like, "Oh, I like it." I'm like, "You want a man with hair, don't you?" Son of a, I knew it. Like, I'm out. I'm out. Well, all right. You guys got anything?
do you have any jokes?
Me?
Anything
I
good?
have.
I mean, if you
have.
do a joke segment, you gotta have something from.
I always have
You
jokes.
either a joke segment or you get a would you
Would you rather? You got a good rather, Rob?
I'll let you go.
Dude, I don't know if I have a good would you rather right now.
Would you have a would you rather or a joke segment?
No, it's, right. Oh, we're usually discussing, like, I think we had a jar of boogers. Would you eat a jar of boogers or a jar of toenails? We had that
Oh,
one.
that's hard.
Yeah,
An
it's.
option to blow my own brains out?
Oh, there's a joke. There's a joke.
There it is.
Jesus Christ. We're going there. All right, well, I think that wraps it up. You guys don't have nothing, huh?
No, sorry to disappoint.
All right.
Because we're just not enough.
No.
We'll work
Hey,
on that.
First off, though, I appreciate you guys making the drive all the way out. You said you were like, what, hour away?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Jesus. But what, Anthem, you said? Over by Anthem?
We're like 3 minutes from Anthem, so.
Like the by the outlet? That's how I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Anthem.
So we're like 3 minutes down the
Just
road
like
from that.
south of that. Yep.
Yeah, so we're like
so-
more like north, and then you're like as far southeast, so just opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Seriously.
Hey, we got to see a new part of the like.
No,
Yeah, it wasn't that
have
bad.
you guys been down the Salt River?
Once when I was a little kid.
Oh, no.
Yep.
No.
I honestly don't.
No, you got. What? How do you not
Well,
know?
because okay, so we moved away at 11, so I know my parents took us to do random shit before that. Half the time I didn't know
Where'd
where
you
the hell
live
we
in
were going.
Texas? Because you're in Texas.
Yeah, we're like an hour east of Dallas, so like the East Texas part.
I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas. I love Texas. I'd move back if I could.
I for the sake of I love horses. So the neighborhood we lived in, there was horses everywhere, so I could take care of them, ride them, all that. But I couldn't stand the fire ants. Those can just all go die.
You've been in Arizona?
My whole life,
Dude. So I actually joined the military because I was in a shit ton of trouble, but I tell people it's because I wanted to. But anyways, so I was like, cool, leaving. Fuck yeah, I was all excited. Go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Then I went to Georgia. I was in Georgia, and they were like, oh, we're gonna send you to North Carolina. So I was like, North Carolina. No, got hometown recruiting. They sent me back to Arizona. It was 2 weeks. And then they're like, oh, you're going to Texas. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll be all right. They have seasons. No, they don't have seasons, dude. You get 3 days of snow, and that's about it. So I've been stuck in the heat 24/7. I'm tired of it.
And then you add some humidity on top of it.
Well,
yeah, that'd be way.
San Antonio, though, if it wasn't for humidity, oh, dude, you die for San Antonio. It's fucking amazing. The Riverwalk area, it's there's so much culture, and then it's shopping, and it's just yeah, you have SeaWorld down there. It's amazing.
That's the one part of Texas I haven't been. I've been to the airport.
Don't go to Houston.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I heard
I've been
that.
there because I've got relatives there.
God.
And I've been to Austin.
So I took a ride along with Houston because I was thinking about being a cop, and cops let me around, and he looks back at me, and he's like, do you want to see the real Houston? I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
I was like, so I knew right away not being a cop.
Don't do it.
It doesn't matter if you say yes or no. It's
No,
gonna happen.
Well, after he showed me, I was like, I do not want to go. So yeah, Hurricane Katrina. So what people don't know, have I talked about this on the podcast?
One time.
Yeah. So Hurricane Katrina happened, Louisiana. They opened the fucking cell gates to prison. We can't transport you. Get out. So all these murderers, rapists, child molesters, you name it, they literally jumped on Red Cross buses and they just fucking moved into Texas. Yeah, so Houston, Killeen, Texas area where Fort Hood's at, it's just, dude, murder's gone up, crime's gone up. It's dude, it's
wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So be glad you're here in Arizona.
Yeah, I am.
It's
a safe place.
We moved to Texas right Hurricane Katrina. We literally drove through New Orleans and stuff there. I think a day or two before it hit. So we moved just in time for all those people arriving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Louisiana. Yeah. You good, Rob? You got a joke?
Well, no.
Always, dude. I tell dad jokes, dude.
Oh, those are the best.
Those are dad jokes.
Did I? So I pencil joke already, but knock knock.
Who's there?
Pencil.
Broken pencil. Who?
I'll say it. No. Never mind. There's no point. I'm telling. It's dad jokes, dude. I'm horrible.
The more simple, the better. I feel like.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm horrible. All right, well, that wraps up for Whiskey Tango Talks. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it
Thank
for
you.
coming all the way this way. Seriously, I realized it was that far. So, but find us on Patreon. Please donate. We're trying to give back to charity. We're doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month shirts at Collar and Grill. Actually, love to have you two out there. Come out, help promote. I'll get you hooked up with a few people.
Perfect.
From representatives from ASU.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Find us on Patreon, like I said. Donate again. If not, go to our IG page, follow, like, subscribe on YouTube. Just give us a fucking listen. We appreciate it, people. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that does it for Whiskey Tango Talks. I'm your host, Derek Pizzatoro. I appreciate you joining us. Tune in next time for amazing life stories and adventures. Y'all have a good night.